Hello, welcome to Stretford Paddock. We're here for the news today. You know the news, one of the biggest stories in, football history is unfolding at the moment. The Premier League and all other English professional football leagues, women's, the EFL, the Premier League, all postponed until April 3rd at the earliest. They're saying April 4th as well. I think that might just be a sort of semantic issue over the weekend rather than it being because April 4th is the Saturday. So I think the potential for it to be April 3rd is basically if there are games on the Friday night, but the weekend of the April 4th. This is, of course, due to the coronavirus outbreak. Pandemic is at this point. Callum Hudson-Odoi, Mikel Arteta are the two sort of big-name people who have been infected with the virus so far. I think they're both relatively in good health, actually. Someone says, how's Steve's head? Yeah, it's all right. Let's get into the full statement then. This is coming from the Premier League, and this says that the Premier League, FA, EFL and WSL have collectively agreed to postpone the professional game in England. So that is literally every professional level of football in England. Following a meeting of shareholders today, it's nice to know they're the ones making the decisions. It was unanimously decided to suspend the Premier League with the intention of returning on April 4th, subject to medical advice and conditions at the time. Premier League Chief Executive Richard Masters said, above all, we wish Mikel Arteta and Callum Hudson-Odoi speedy recoveries and everyone else affected by COVID-19. In this unprecedented situation, we are working closely with our clubs, government, the FA, the EFL, and can reassure everyone that the health and welfare of players, staff and supporters are our priority. Despite the challenges, it is the Premier League's aim to reschedule the displaced fixtures, including those played by academy sides, when it is safe to do so. In this fast-moving environment, further updates will be provided when appropriate. Personally, this is right. So that's the news of it. Let me know in the comments what you think. It's obviously you got to go with the medical side of things here, haven't we? I don't think there's many people saying that this is a bad thing to do, other than we want to see football and we can't. But I think we've got to put that to one side. For those people wondering, and I'm sure it should be clear to most of you, that means United won't be playing Tottenham at the weekend, just in case people ask that or are wondering what's going on there. The worry here is, according to most experts, this isn't going to be finished and done by April the 4th. So I don't know whether the idea is, the hope is that we're sort of over the worst of it and that the number of reported cases each week is coming down at that point, and that is considered a safe time to reconvene the games. I'm not exactly sure what is supposed to have changed by the 4th of April. Most projections for a virus like this will be at least until the summer. Obviously, this puts a lot of pressure on the Euros, which are meant to take place in the summer. A lot of pressure on the likes of sort of Wimbledon, and that sort of thing, which takes place every summer, and of course the Olympics as well, which is toward the end of summer. But and that is meant to be hosted in Tokyo this year. So there's a whole host of things that are being jeopardised and potentially cancelled and postponed and delayed, and the further things get delayed, the more difficult it is to kind of, bring them back and do them. We've already seen the winter break this year, and we've seen how that sort of made games congested. Another 3-week break. Obviously, this is again, I'm not doubting the validity of the break. I'm just wondering what chances we do have of seeing these games played, and there has been no word, or no official word at least, of what the protocol would be for that. If it is deemed to be too unsafe to play games on the 3rd or 4th of April, I guess we have to take things from there in terms of cancelling, or I don't know. That would all just be conjecture at this point. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know if you've got any tickets to any games or anything like that that were meant to be going ahead that you're missing out on, because it's a strange one, isn't it? Because people say my summer is ruined, and from a selfish perspective, I think that's what we're all thinking. Obviously, like I said, you've always got to put people's health first. You've always got to put people's safety first. So I don't think anyone is genuinely against this move. It just seems the most sensible and the right thing to do. But on a sort of personal fan level, it's a bit of a shame, isn't it, that we don't get to see the games and that sort of thing. But yeah, it's Someone saying, my guess is schools and universities will close next. Well, there's issues with all that. We're just going to have to wait and see. It's such a strange situation to be in. Like I said, an unprecedented situation, one of the biggest and most sort of, powerful, I suppose, news stories and things to happen to football ever, really. The only time I think, have we seen the professional game be suspended before other than for wars? I think the last time this happened was World War II, which obviously isn't the same situation at all, but just in terms of things being postponed, it really is unprecedented, certainly in the modern era. We've never seen anything like this. And it's hard to know what's going to happen, really, because, we've got, like I said, most experts are predicting, and don't take my word as gospel on this, but from what I've seen, that this virus is probably going to be around for a good few months yet, so I'm not quite sure how things are going to come back. There hasn't been any word on what would happen if this needs to be postponed further or cancelled. People are speculating about Liverpool winning the league or not, or who's in first position winning the league, or whether it just resorts back to last season, or whether the league is cancelled and it's just a repeat of where people finished last year with no official winner. We're not quite sure of all that sort of stuff. I thought Jesus could cure the plague. Unfortunately not. I tried my best. I've got my best people working on it, but it seems very difficult. There was some suggestion that games might be played behind closed doors when they come back. So this is kind of like not an incubation period, but a time for the players to kind of be in that isolation state and allow themselves to make sure that no one is infected. People are staying away, but family, friends, people coming and going. It's going to be very hard to keep all Premier League players fit during this period. I think we'll learning more about the virus as things go as well, which will be a key part to all this, because I think the fans being there is the big concern. And obviously when we've got players in Callum Hudson-Odoi and managers in Mikel Arteta who have been infected, and they won't be the last to be infected, you can almost be certain of that. I wonder quite what the plan is. We haven't got much news. Well, we've got no news, basically, on why April 4th was picked, what the idea behind it is. Do we think the virus is going to be gone by then, or are we just managing a sort of containment period for the next 2 or 3 weeks, and then the games will be played behind closed doors? We don't have any of that news. But as soon as we do have any of that, we'll be going live and we'll be letting you know on Stretford Paddock. The thing is, it's going to be very much an evolving and moving kind of story, this one, as you would expect. In the last sort of 2 or 3 days, this has really gone sort of through the roof, hasn't it? You see over in America the travel bans, and the NBA has been suspended, and then Serie A was suspended last week, and I think La Liga, and I think almost all of the major leagues around Europe have been suspended. So it's moving very quickly, and it's something that's sort of, I think we're going to be getting a lot of news very quickly rather than, we'll wait till April 4th. I think it does seem as though the Europa League and Champions League have also been cancelled, haven't they? Postponed, should I say. Which is strange, because I thought their 55 shareholders weren't meant to be meeting until the 17th. So I don't know what they're going to be doing now, because those tournaments have already been postponed. So we may get some more news on a European level on the 17th. But the way this story and the way this sort of news is unfolding, don't be surprised to hear sort of major updates pretty much daily, because it's such a quick moving and huge story that there's going to be a lot going on. So make sure you stick around for all that. Looking at the game then yesterday a little bit, someone saying that Igalo wasn't that good. Well, I think he was pretty good. I hope we don't lose momentum. Yeah, from a pure footballing side of things, I think United are in a good point at the moment of 11 games unbeaten. But yeah, it's hard to know what. There was some talk again of a potential points tally thing being used. Adam was mentioning it yesterday as a joke, but the Duckworth-Lewis method is something that they use in cricket, which is a way of deducing sort of points and scores necessary based on kind of points per run, points per ball, runs per ball. You get it. So it's hard to know what will happen. But like I said, all of that news will be covered on Stretford Paddock. Any breaking news, we will be going live and we will be bringing to you. So make sure you stick around for all of that. Bit of bad news today, unfortunately. Sorry about that. But that's how it is. We're still going to be here though with all of our usual content except matchday stuff. So we're going to be having the podcast still. What? Oh, we're going to have a podcast still, and we've got on Sunday. We are going to be playing Stretford Paddock FC's first game, so we're going to be bringing you live reaction to all of that stuff, and there'll be lots of news around that as well. So you might not have Man United. Yeah, we might not have Man United, but we're going to have Stretford Paddock FC instead, and it's going to be absolutely excellent. And it's in a way, Steve, they're just as good, aren't they? Or better. Actually, yeah, so we're going to be having loads of coverage of Stretford Paddock FC because we need some football to get us through the next 3 weeks. So we have introduced Stretford Paddock FC as a conduit to Manchester United that will get us all through this difficult and troubling time. Right, we're going to be back in a little bit for a transfer review, and then, like I said, over the weekend and next week we're going to have a lot of stuff about Stretford Paddock FC, so be sure to tune in for all of that. We'll see you in a bit.